Bangladesh is racing toward a February 2026 election that already looks less like a democratic comeback and more like a political déjà vu soaked in irony, rage, and recycled chaos. Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus, now the unlikely administrator of a post-uprising nation, has announced the first national vote since the students' uprising that toppled Sheikh Hasina. But instead of a glorious democratic reset, the country is spiraling back into the same old cycle: boycotts, bans, bitterness, and ballot box theatre. The Awami League has been struck off the map. Hasina herself in India, after fleeing the 2024 revolt, is facing the death penalty in her home country. Her party has been banned and is now refusing to touch these polls. BNP is positioned to win. Jamaat is back. Student leaders are scrambling, and the ghost of 2014 hangs over the entire country. With February 2026 turning into a mirror of past betrayals, will Bangladesh ever see real democracy? Hello and welcome. You're watching Statecraft with me, Geeta Mohan. To understand how explosive this moment truly is, you have to rewind to the contradictions built into Bangladesh's history. In this nation, democracy always arrives with conditions, warnings, coups, boycotts, and retribution. Yunus calls the February 2026 election an important milestone, a turning point after the historic 2024 uprising. But the Awami League says it's nothing more than the same old power grab in a new outfit. In 2014, BNP boycotted Hasina's election because she scrapped the caretaker system. Now Hasina's banned Awami League is boycotting because they claim Yunus's administration isn't neutral either. BNP once rejected the system. Now Awami League rejects it. BNP accused Awami League of manipulation. Now Awami League accuses Yunus of bias. The loop is repeating. So how can anyone pretend this is genuine democracy? Bangladesh is staging its first election since the Delhi 2024 student-led uprising ripped Hasina out of power and sent her fleeing to India. The country has been governed since then by an interim administration under Muhammad Yunus, a Nobel Peace Prize winner who suddenly found himself at the helm of a nation angry, fractured, and desperate for reform. But the very reforms meant to cleanse Bangladesh's democracy have now become loaded political weapons. The Election Commission suspended Awami League's registration in mid-2025, accusing the party of atrocities during the uprising and years of state manipulation. Awami League calls all of this a sham, a vengeful purge, not justice. Yunus says it's accountability. Critics say it's victors' justice in disguise. Supporters say it's long overdue. But no matter how it's spun, the February 2026 polls will unfold without the party that led Bangladesh's liberation, won 9 national elections, and dominated politics since independence. The decision to deregister Awami League wasn't framed as a ban, but the effect is the same. They cannot contest February 2026. Over 1,300 Awami League leaders are jailed. Hasina's name is tied to war crimes probes. Key figures are exiled, assets frozen, activists hunted, and the party is being pushed into a corner it once pushed others into. The irony bites deep. The same Awami League that crushed BNP's ability to compete in 2014 and 2018 is now being crushed under the Yunus administration in 2026. Hasina once said boycotting of elections by the BNP was irresponsible. Now she says no election is legitimate without Awami League. BNP once warned their exclusion would destroy democracy. Now Awami League warns the same. History in Bangladesh doesn't just rhyme, it copies and pastes. Meanwhile, the presidency is crumbling under the weight of humiliation. Muhammad Shahabuddin, installed under Hasina as a ceremonial figure, says he will step down after the vote because the interim government made him feel disrespected. If even the president feels politically suffocated, what chance does the voter have? Yet, the country pushes forward toward 12th of February, an election paired with a national referendum on the July Charter, a sweeping document promising to cap executive power, fortify elections, free the judiciary and prevent law enforcement abuse. Yunus calls this a new path. Awami League calls it an illegal rewrite. BNP calls it convenient timing. Critics call it rushed. Supporters call it historic. But the referendum will move ahead whether the nation is ready or not. And in this vacuum, BNP stands as the clear frontrunner. After years of boycotts, arrests, and suffocation under Hasina's rule, the party now faces its easiest electoral path in history. Jamaat-e-Islami, once banned from elections because their ideology violated the secular constitution, is suddenly back in the arena after restrictions were relaxed by the interim government. This is another twist of irony. Under Hasina, Jamaat was pushed to the margins as extremists. Under Yunus, they're rehabilitated as legitimate players. And the brand new National Citizen Party, born from the very students who toppled Hasina in 2024, struggles to transform protest momentum into electoral strength. Street power does not automatically become political power. Who knows this better than Bangladesh, a nation built on protest but perpetually failing at clean elections? BNP's political architecture has long rested on Islamist alliances, most notably with Jamaat-e-Islami, a party that opposed Bangladesh's 1971 independence. Ziaur Rahman's shift toward Islamic nationalism enabled Jamaat's rehabilitation, and during BNP's 1991 and 2001 coalitions, Jamaat gained real state power. The 2001-2006 BNP Jamaat-e-Islami rule remains infamous for the minority hunt, when Hindu communities faced targeted attacks, displacement, and intimidation widely linked to BNP-JI local networks. Though BNP denies extremism, its repeated outreach to Jamaat and groups like Khilafat Majlis ahead of the 2026 polls revives old concerns. Awami League, despite tactical alliances with smaller Islamist outfits like IOJ, built its identity on secularism, banned Jamaat in 2013, executed its war crimes convicts, and cracked down on Shibir militants. Unlike BNP's structural integration with large Islamist forces, Awami League's engagements were opportunistic rather than ideological, and no comparable pattern of minority persecution is associated with its rule. The ground reality is brutal. Without the Awami League, the February 2026 election will be more competitive than Hasina-era elections, but less inclusive than meaningful democracy demands. BNP, Jamaat, and smaller groups may sweep, but sweeping a tainted field doesn't heal the wounds of legitimacy. Millions of Awami League supporters risk being left politically homeless. Hasina, speaking from India, warns that if her party remains excluded, her supporters will boycott the vote en masse. That means the turnout could collapse, the mandate could be questioned, and the victory, whoever claims it, could be fragile from day one. The spectre of 2014 haunts everything. Back then, BNP condemned Hasina for scrapping the caretaker system, the very system Bangladesh trusted to ensure fair polls since 1991. Hasina said elected governments should supervise elections. BNP said that was political suicide. When BNP boycotted, Awami League walked into victory without competition, winning 154 seats unopposed. Violence erupted. International criticism poured in. Democracy took a hit. And now, the roles are reversed. Awami League calls Yunus's interim setup biased. Awami League demands a neutral caretaker. It threatens boycott, warns of illegitimacy. The exact accusations they once dismissed now form their battle cry. In November 2025, Bangladesh's Supreme Court reinstated the caretaker system, essentially saying the earlier abolition was a mistake. But Awami League says the current interim government is not truly caretaker, not neutral, not balanced, not inclusive. They argue that an administration born from a revolution that toppled them can never see or oversee a fair election involving them. BNP laughs off this claim. Jamaat calls it hypocrisy. Student leaders insist the revolution had to purge the old guard. And Yunus insists he's overseeing reforms, not revenge. But reforms delivered in a climate of exclusion are seen as revenge by those excluded. Bangladesh has seen this pattern again and again. Meanwhile, the July Declaration and the July Charter promise everything Bangladesh has been denied for decades: judicial independence, cleaner voter rolls, biometric verification, purged security agencies, and insulated election authorities. Civil liberties have improved. Most political prisoners not tied to violent crimes have been freed according to reports. Draconian digital laws have been softened, but tragedy echoes elsewhere. Minorities, especially Hindus, have suffered more than 2,000 attacks after the uprising, exposing the dangerous power vacuums transitional periods create. Student groups want deeper reforms before any vote. The army wants the election sooner to stabilize the country. BNP wants December 2025. Yunus chose February 2026. And Awami League wants no election unless they're allowed back in. This tug-of-war has dragged Bangladesh into its classic doom loop. Every political faction demands credible elections, but credibility means completely different things depending on who you ask. For BNP, credibility means Awami League must stay out until accountability is complete. For Awami League, credibility means lifting bans and restoring their right to compete. For Yunus, credibility means pressing forward with reforms and holding the vote before the country descends into fresh unrest. For student revolutionaries, credibility means deeper reform, not rushed timelines. And for voters, ordinary people with no power except a ballot, credibility means not being forced to choose in a rigged, fractured, or incomplete democracy yet again. Can a nation with this much political memory ever start fresh? When every party remembers decades of betrayal, when every victor uses the state to crush opponents, when every loser claims victimhood, Bangladesh cycles through vengeance, not transition, through purges, not healing, through exclusion, not inclusion. From Mujibur Rahman's contested 1973 victory during the Pakistan elections when East and West were one, to Ziaul Haq's manipulated 1979 win. From Ershad's sham 1980s polls to the 1990 uprising. From the caretaker era of the 1990s to the abolition in 2011. From the BNP boycott in 2014 to the Awami League suffocation of BNP in 2018. From Hasina's 15 years of rule to the 2024 student uprising, every chapter ends with one faction stepping on another. And February 2026 now risks becoming just another chapter where victory doesn't fix the system. It only flips who gets to use it. In a telling twist, the party that abolished the caretaker government in 2011 now demands it. The party that dismissed boycott politics now embraces it. The party that jailed opposition leaders now complains of political arrests. The party that once controlled the Election Commission now accuses it of bias. In Bangladesh, roles don't just change, they invert completely. Yesterday's autocrats become today's victims. Yesterday's boycotters become today's beneficiaries. Yesterday's purged party becomes today's ruling party. And the voters watch, exhausted, from one rigged cycle to the next. What truly defines this moment isn't just the ban on Awami League. It's that every revolutionary promise made in 2024 is colliding with the political realities of Bangladesh's history. Yunus wanted reforms, justice, independence, fairness. But in trying to correct Hasina's rule, he risks inheriting the same pattern, exclusion in the name of reform. Transitional justice becoming political justice, accountability turning into selective prosecution, reform delivered without consensus, and an election held without one of the country's largest political constituencies. February 12, 2026 will test whether Bangladesh can break its cycle or fall deeper into it. Voters will choose MPs across 300 seats and simultaneously vote on the July Charter, arguably the most ambitious democratic overhaul since independence. Nearly 128 million people are eligible to vote. More than 42,000 polling stations will be opened. It looks monumental on paper, but a monumental election without monumental trust is just theatre. In an election without Awami League, if BNP wins big, will Awami League accept the result? If Jamaat gains ground, will minorities feel safe? If the National Citizen Party underperforms, will the spirit of the student revolution fracture? If turnout collapses, will the mandate stand? And if Yunus pushes ahead with reforms while half the political spectrum stays outside, can Bangladesh claim democratic rebirth? Or is it simply replacing one era of dominance with another? Bangladesh isn't just fighting for an election, it's fighting for the soul of its political future. Pluralism or purgatory will define the post-Hasina era. The uprising gave the nation a chance to rewrite its destiny. February 2026 will decide if that chance becomes transformation or tragedy. The cycle is repeating. The stakes are enormous. After February 2026, will Bangladesh finally see democracy, or will the country once again watch its future hijacked by the ghosts of its own past? Thank you for watching Statecraft.